I've been trying to reach you.
Hi everyone, welcome back to Movie Time with Chris. I know it has been a long time since you guys have seen me. It's quite a difference to go from seeing me every day of the week to not seeing me for 8 months. But a lot's happened. I got a job, left a job, got another job. Currently working at a movie theater. It was fitting for me. I love movies, so I'm back at it. Today, as we saw at that intro, kind of give a hint, we're talking about The Batman. Matt Reeves' new movie, reboot of the Batman story that we've all seen many times over, but this is not part of the DCEU. So it's a whole new take on it. I like it. Let's talk about it. So this movie came out March 4th. After many delays because of COVID, the movie was supposed to come out in 2021, and it actually came out, like I said, March 4th. And the movie picks up, Batman's been doing this now 2 years. So he's still trying to gain his footing as Batman. He's trying to find his place, what works for him. We've all been there. Whenever you do anything new and you're going to be doing it continuously, you try to find what works for you. Whether it's something in your home life, your work life, doesn't matter. So that's really just what he's doing. He's trying to find out how can he do this in the best way possible. The movie starts out and he's talking about how it's a big city. He can't be everywhere. He has to choose his spots carefully. So that's really just what he's doing. He can't balance his life. That was kind of a complaint that a lot of people were giving that I've heard, is that there's no real Bruce Wayne in this movie. You just get Batman. And I keep telling them that's the role that he was going for. He played it perfectly. He's not Bruce Wayne and Batman. He's Batman. That's it. He hasn't learned how to balance his life of being a billionaire playboy and being the Dark Knight. So he doesn't know how to do both, so he's just doing one. And he's doing the one that he thinks is going to be the most important, is going to be his family's legacy. But yeah, the movie, very good movie. Very refreshing to see. I like Batman. I like the DC movies. I own all the DC movies except for the Suicide Squad. That'll be a video for another day. But I like them. I really do. I was excited for this movie. This was one of my most anticipated movies of 2022. So could not wait for this one. I've already seen it twice, and the movie's only been out a week. But that's how much I enjoyed it. So let's talk about all the goods of this movie. Robert Pattinson, everyone's always like, oh, the kid from Twilight. Oh my God, he's done so much more since Twilight. He is such an amazing actor, and he played this part beautifully, absolutely beautifully. I think I won't go as far as other people and say that he's my favorite Batman now. But he's definitely up there. I might go as far as saying he's in the top 3 of my favorite Batmans. And there have been a lot. So that's saying something. But yeah, he did an amazing job. Andy Serkis as Alfred. I love Andy Serkis. I love everything he does, everything he touches. I love him. I wish we got more of him in the movie. There wasn't a whole lot of him, and that kind of, it hurt me because I'm like, oh, he's so good. But hopefully we get a lot more of him in future installments of these movies. Zoe Kravitz, great job as Catwoman. I'd probably say my second favorite, above Halle Berry's, above Anne Hathaway's. I don't think she's quite there with Michelle Pfeiffer yet, but that's because Michelle Pfeiffer, that's what I grew up with as Catwoman. So just like I grew up with Michael Keaton as Batman, He'll always be my Batman. And I'm excited to see him as Batman this year with the Batgirl show and with the Flash movie. Super excited. But anyway, yeah, Zoe Kravitz, amazing job. I think a lot of people were talking about the chemistry between her and Robert Pattinson, and you could see it, but I don't know if it was as strong as everyone else was saying, through my opinion. John Turturro is another one where it's almost anything he touches is going to be gold. He's got that Midas touch, and he just pulled this role off beautifully. And I never would have pictured him in a role like that, but once he was there, it was like, that makes sense. That works. I like it. I want to see more of it. I guess I should say spoiler alert. We won't see more of it, and that kind of sucks. But you never know. Maybe a spin-off. That's a big thing now. Everyone's doing a spin-off. Colin Farrell. I tell you, if you didn't know that was Colin Farrell, you would have watched that entire movie, walked out, and been like, man, who's that guy that played Penguin? He was really good. I knew that it was Colin Farrell, and I had a hard time seeing it. A little bit with the eyes, I was able to figure it out at some points, but he hit it out of the park with this one. And so excited now for the show that he's getting, The Penguin. It's going to be on HBO Max, and I just can't wait for this. And I want to see how this is going to go, especially because, shows don't get ratings. So there isn't like a PG-13 or an R for shows. They could really go all out on this, and I'm really excited to see what they do with it. I really am. Especially with it being on HBO Max. I'm sure we could get a lot with it. I mean, they've had great shows on there like Game of Thrones, Sopranos. So I cannot wait to see what they do with this. I'm hoping it kind of goes that way, where it's more of the Sopranos. And, Penguin is the Tony Soprano of the show. And that's what I would love to see. But again, personal opinion. What do I know? I just do this. How could I forget? Oh my God. Paul Dano. Paul Dano. Oh, the Riddler. The Riddler is absolutely hilarious in this movie. I loved it. Loved it. I was laughing because it was just great. His performance was just great. I loved it. But anyway, I mean, he's done great things before. If you've seen Prisoners, you know what I'm talking about. That movie was epic, and he played the part beautifully, and he plays this part just as beautifully. It's almost, I don't know, it was refreshing to see. I think the thing I love the most about this Batman is how real this Batman was. All the others had this kind of fantastical element to it that's not based in reality. And this one's almost the most real of all the Batmans that I've seen. And that's what I enjoyed about it. And especially Paul Dano's character, where, it's not like the complete other side of the spectrum from Jim Carrey's from Batman Forever. It's a new take on the Riddler that's very realistic. You can see this kind of villain being out there in the world. And that's what's scary about it. But also what makes you appreciate it that much more, because you know that this can happen. But all the performances were absolutely beautiful. The writing for most of it, the story was great. I felt that the very end of the third act left a lot to be desired. It finishes on a note of, Batman realizes what he's been doing and how he needs to change to better help the city of Gotham. And I think now moving forward is where we're going to see more of the duality between Bruce Wayne and Batman. He realizes that he needs to change and he needs to provide hope. And in future installments, we're going to see him learning more of, okay, how do I become this playboy billionaire to help the people of Gotham with the money that I have, that my family has done, because they've had that history of philanthropy. But how could I also continue to still be Batman and instill fear in criminals? You know, I want them to fear me, but I want the civilians to have hope. We're going to see that, I think, in future installments, and I cannot wait for those future installments. Overall, the movie was good. It's 2 hours and like 55 minutes with credits, and I could tell you it doesn't even feel like it. It really doesn't. The movie starts out and you're hooked. They really sink those hooks in you, and you're hooked right from the start. And time just goes by, and before you even know it, it's like, wait, I've been sitting here for 2 hours? So, that's a credit to the story and the writing. Again, I felt the third act, the end of it left a lot to be desired. It kind of ended not on a high note, but you know, that might be the norm for this movie, and it might work in future installments. So only time will tell. Only time will tell. Overall, I'd probably give this movie, I don't know, how would I rank that in stars? It would be 4.5 out of 5 stars. It's very enjoyable. It's refreshing. It takes your mind away from the troubles of the real world for 3 hours, 3+ hours with trailers. So yeah, definitely something to check out. It's in theaters for the first 45 days of its release, and then it will be streaming on HBO Max, so you could find it on HBO Max. But now for the second part of this video, I wanted to just talk about it briefly and talk about how I enjoyed the movie, all the pros that were with it, the few cons that I had with it. But now, what I really wanted to talk about. There's been a lot of videos and a lot of people talking about this movie and saying, oh my God, this movie is so much like Seven. And oh my God, this movie is so much like Zodiac. And oh my God, I can even see, you know, a little dab of Saw in this movie. And I watched this movie and I didn't get any of that. I did not get any of it. And I've got my notes here. So forgive me for referring to my notes. But this movie is essentially, it's the birth child, in my opinion, of two other movies from 2008 and 2009. This has a lot of similarities to Christopher Nolan's The Dark Knight, which came out July 18th of 2009. I'm sorry, 2008. And this has a lot of Watchmen. Zack Snyder's Watchmen, which came out March 6th, 2009. So 13 years before Batman, Zack Snyder did Watchmen. And the similarities are almost eerie. And I'm going to talk about some of them now, so that maybe you guys can see what I see. So just some of the things. The first one I have written down, okay, well, in all three movies, there's a grapple gun. You know, Robert Pattinson uses it in The Batman. Christian Bale uses it in The Dark Knight. Rorschach, oh my God, I drew a blank on his name. I can't think of it. The guy who played Rorschach in Watchmen, he uses a grapple gun. That's stupid. That's like, oh, well, you know, they use a machine gun in all these movies. Yeah, okay. All three of them have an underground secret lair. You know, in The Dark Knight, it's underneath that shipping container. In Watchmen, it's underneath Dan Dryberg's house, or Night Owl's house. And in The Batman, it's the underground, like, subway station between Wayne Manor and Wayne Tower. All three of them have a funeral scene. In The Dark Knight, it's the funeral for Commissioner Loeb. In Watchmen, it's the funeral for the comedian. And in The Batman, it's the funeral for the mayor. No real spoiler there with the funeral scene. The clip has been out for a few weeks now on YouTube. So if you're a fan of the movie, if you've been looking forward to the movie, you've already seen that scene. So each movie is almost 3 hours long. I have the exact run times here. The Batman, 2 hours, actually 2 hours and 56 minutes. I think I said 2:55 before. It's 2 hours and 56 minutes. The Dark Knight is 2 hours and 32 minutes, and Watchmen is 2 hours and 42 minutes. If you add the director's cut, which Zack Snyder usually does with his films, the director's cut, I believe, is a little over 3 hours. It's like 3 hours and 2 minutes. Don't quote me on that. And all three movies were from Warner Brothers because they're all DC properties. The Batman and The Dark Knight, obviously, are Batman movies. And Watchmen is based on a graphic novel, which is owned by DC. So, yeah, they're all Warner Brother DC stories. So another thing that they kind of all have in common, I'm just going to quickly read the synopses that you can find on IMDb, not the synopses, the plot summary that you can find on IMDb for each one of these movies. So for The Batman, it says, when the Riddler, a sadistic serial killer, begins murdering key political figures in Gotham, Batman is forced to investigate the city's hidden corruption and question his family's involvement. The Dark Knight. When the menace known as the Joker wreaks havoc and chaos on the people of Gotham, Batman must accept one of the greatest physical and psychological tests of his ability to fight injustice. Watchmen. In 1985, where former superheroes exist, the murder of a colleague sends active vigilante Rorschach into his own sprawling investigation, uncovering something that could completely change the course of history as we know it. Kind of similar in each one of them. The similarities don't end there, but kind of similar. So, some more similarities between like the Batman and Watchmen. There's Batman's love interest, or not even Batman. There's a caped vigilante's love interest in the movie, both movies, who wears a tight, like, latex outfit. And at some point in the movie, they're forced in a situation where they can't breathe. It's in the third act of both movies. And we get a father reveal from both of those characters, where we don't know who their father is, but then it's revealed and it's like a plot twist in both. So that's a big similarity between them. But the big one that really, the movie started and I was like, wow, they both, the Batman and Watchmen almost start the exact same way. There's a murder that happens at the beginning of an influential character to the story. And then after the murder, the movie picks up with the main character giving like a journal or a diary entry monologue. You know, with the Batman, it's Robert Pattinson talking, or Batman, and he's saying, you know, Thursday, October 31st, Halloween night, you know, and it's him just talking about the night, but basically his journal entry. In Watchmen, it's kind of the same thing, you know, Rorschach's journal, October 12th, 1985. So those two kind of tie in together. 1 second, and I'm back. Sorry. Gatorade, the thirst quencher. This video is not sponsored by Gatorade, but Gatorade, I mean, if you want to sponsor it, help a guy out. So, yes, the movies start out almost identical. And it just, I don't know, that similarity, it plays throughout the movie. because at the end of the movie, you know, it ends again with Batman doing like a journal entry. And he's like, you know, whatever day it is, November 7th or whatever. Because it's essentially like a week later. So he's like, oh, November 7th, Wednesday, and this happened. And the same in Watchmen, where it ends with Rorschach's final entry, you know, Rorschach's journal, final entry, Veidt's behind everything. Why? What's his end game? So it's just like that similarity between the two was apparent throughout the movie to me. Also, the tones that you get, the Batman and Watchmen are very dark movies. And I don't mean that in the sense of the story and the plot. They are, but the scenes are very, very dark. And there's an undertone of a certain color. In the Batman, it's red. So you have a lot of very black scenes with a red lighting. And in Watchmen, it's yellow. And you even see that in the logos. I mean, we get the same thing in Dark Knight, but in the Batman beginning Warner Brothers logo, you see it's black and red. In Watchmen, we see that it's black and yellow. And with the Dark Knight, it's black and blue. But those similarities. Now, with the Batman and the Dark Knight, the synopses, like I said, was almost identical. The plot summary of it, just one of them is dealing with the Joker, one of them is dealing with the Riddler, but it's basically the exact same thing. They both have the killing of a police commissioner. You know, in The Dark Knight, it's Commissioner Loeb. In this one, it's Commissioner Savage in the Batman. The district attorney. In Batman, it's Gil Coulson. Wonder if he's related to Phil Coulson. But anyway, Gil Coulson. And in The Dark Knight, they attempt to kill Harvey Dent, district attorney. And then there's another prominent figure that is killed. In The Dark Knight, it's Judge Cirillo. And in the Batman, it's Mayor Mitchell. So you get 3 deaths of prominent figures in both movies. Police commissioner, district attorney, and another prominent figure. I'm sorry, I said deaths. They didn't kill Harvey Dent, but yeah, that's what you get. And the other thing that I saw a similarity in is both movies, The Dark Knight and The Batman, have, I'm not even sure if you want to say it's an interrogation scene, but there is a scene between Batman and the antagonist of the film. So in The Dark Knight, it's the scene where he's sitting there with the Joker and, you know, they're having their discussion and Joker's talking about how, you know, I didn't try to kill you. You complete me. Like, where would I be without you? And in the Batman, it's Batman sitting across from Edward Nashton or the Riddler and talking about how the Riddler's talking about how they did this together. They were a team. You know, Batman's physical strength and the Riddler's brain power were able to unmask the corruption of Gotham. And in both instances, they realize Batman is not on their side. Batman is different from them. It doesn't go the way they plan. But their bigger plan starts to reveal itself. And Batman can't do anything about it. Joker says it beautifully. With all your strength, you have nothing to hurt me with. Nothing, like, he can't do anything to him. And it's the same thing. Like, there's nothing that Batman could do to Riddler to make him stop or get the plan out. And the same thing with Joker. Ultimately, their plan gets into play. Being captured was always part of their plans. And we see that because Joker, you know, there's the scene right after Rachel gets killed and Gordon is like, they tell Gordon that Major Crimes was blown up and Joker escaped. And he's like, with Lau, he wanted to get captured. He wanted us to put him at the MCU so that he could escape. With the Batman, we see it in the Riddler's final video, his final posting to his followers, where he says, by the time you see this, I would have already been unmasked and I would have been caught and the pigs would have me. So that similarity, it just, I don't know. I don't know. I think because I like both of those movies, and I mean, don't get me wrong, I think The Dark Knight is my least favorite of the Christopher Nolan trilogy, but I still enjoy it. And Watchmen, I mean, I watched Watchmen every day that movie was in theaters. I saw it. So yeah, I'm a big fan of Watchmen as well. So maybe it's my bias and my enjoyment of those films that makes me like this film so much. Because we all know how I feel about like sequels or remakes, because I feel like they're always taking from what was done before and just trying to copy it over. And with these similarities, that's essentially what happened. They took the story and a lot of the big plot points from The Dark Knight, and they threw in kind of the darkness, one-sided internal struggle of a main character with some plot twist of Watchmen and put it in The Dark Knight. Those similarities, I don't know. I'm torn. So who knows? Maybe that 4.5-star rating might go down upon more rewatches. Again, I have seen the movie twice. I watched it in a regular format. I did watch it in a premium format. And I'll probably see it one more time. AMC Theaters has their open caption thing that they're doing where you can actually watch the movie with the subtitles. So maybe pick up on something I might have missed. Maybe someone said something. Maybe I misinterpreted something. But, I'll probably see it one more time. And maybe after that, I'll have different taste and maybe this review will change. But as of right now, this is what it is. If you've seen the movie and if you have HBO Max, watch The Dark Knight and watch Watchmen. Both of those you can find on HBO Max. See those, see the similarities. Tell me I'm wrong, because you can't. But that's my thought on The Batman. I wanted to do this video. I was so anticipating this movie. I was so excited for it. I was actually going to do this video in my outfit of Riddler. I went out and got the entire outfit. I was going to do the video like that, but most of it's green. And as you can tell, I have a green screen. So if I did it as Riddler, you wouldn't see me. It would be like those funny videos of people doing the weather when they're wearing green and the map is on their body. But yeah, those are my thoughts. The movie is good. It is enjoyable. It doesn't feel like 3 hours, so don't let that 3-hour time frame bother you. The third act can be a little slow. If you're going to time your bathroom breaks, do it during the third act. A lot of things are discussed instead of acted out. So you're not going to miss like a scene of action. It'll be explained to you and you'll understand it. That's just my own personal opinion on bathroom breaks during The Batman. I haven't taken it in either time that I saw it, but some people have to. Again, the movie will be streaming on HBO Max 45 days after its release, which I believe puts it around April 19th. You will be able to watch it at home if you choose to do it that way, if you don't feel safe going out to the theaters yet, which I understand a lot of people don't with COVID. But I really don't know what else to say. The movie's good. It's refreshing. Matt Reeves did an amazing job. There was a lot of hesitation from people with Robert Pattinson playing the role, especially after Ben Affleck, but it worked out. So, The Batman. Check it out in theaters. But that sums up this video. You guys can still email me, movietimewithchris@gmail.com. You can find me on Twitch. I stream some games on there, mostly Fortnite lately. And I'm trying to think. I don't have the blog anymore. Just subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to the channel. You'll find all the videos you like. I'm hoping to get back into this again regularly, where I'll be doing more movie reviews, TV shows. There's a lot of shows I need to catch up on and do reviews for. I did finish watching Loki. I got to give you the summaries of that. The Bad Batch. The trailer for Obi-Wan just came out, and I have to watch that. So anticipate, more videos in the future, especially when my setup gets finalized, when I do relocate. I'll be doing videos more frequently. So be on the lookout for those. Make sure you tell your friends to watch this video, like it, share it, subscribe, all that fun stuff. And until next time, stay safe and take care.